we've been away for a little while. Again, sorry, we were sick, and it was the holidays, and there was a lot going on. But hopefully, everybody in the world has done what they should have done and saw Spider-Man: No Way Home. We will be doing a video talking about the top things of 2021. I can already tell you this is on the list. So let's get right into it. Spoiler time!
Spoilers!
Welcome back to Small Couch Reviews. We are going to talk about Spider-Man spoilers right now. If you have not seen the movie, I'll just tell you in our last review, it was I think it was maybe 3 minutes, and we just said it was fantastic all around. We gave it a 5 out of 5. You need to go watch it.
Straight up.
Yeah, but if you're here, obviously you want to hear the spoilers, so we're going to get right into it. I don't know if this is going to be like a chronological recap of the movie or stuff. I just know me and Jovi liked a lot about it, and we're going to talk about what we liked, and we're going to get into spoiler territory.
Yeah.
I need to go first, because if I don't say it, I'm going to forget it. Go. So, this movie lives up to expectations, and surpassed them in many ways, because all 3 Spider-Men from the live-action movies dating back to the start of the millennium were in this. Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. 2 of them are British, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Tobey Maguire is the only one who's not. But anyway, what I loved about this movie, and what a lot of people seem to love, wow, Andrew Garfield.
Yes.
He wasn't in the movie. I mean, he was in the movie, but he wasn't in the spotlight all that long.
Oh, no.
But dear God, this movie just showed if you give him the right writers, he can be a really good Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I still don't really buy him as Peter Parker, if I'm being honest.
He's too cool.
Yeah, he looks too cool to be Peter Parker.
He's too cool to be Peter Parker.
But I really loved him. And the best part of this movie, to me, which I'm going to say off the jump, there's a part where MJ falls. Zendaya, MJ. And she's falling off a roof. Like all the Spider-Man girlfriends do, obviously. Yeah. Now that I thought about
it,
Spider-Man girlfriend? Toby's, Andrew's, and all of them will fall.
Yeah.
Tom Holland jumps to save her, of course, as his girlfriend, and he gets knocked out.
Yeah.
And then you see Andrew Garfield just scream out, "No!"
Yeah.
And he goes, and he saves her. And when he's holding her after he saves her and he just starts crying, bro, that joint hit me right here. I was like, nah, I said it in the theater. I was like, not this time. Yeah. And someone behind me was like, yeah, he said not this time. Because he couldn't save Gwen. But he saved MJ. Redemption!
If it wasn't if I didn't know it was going to happen, it would be a even bigger moment. But I definitely was sitting there it was you needed that.
He needed that in his life, yo.
He needed that, and so, yeah.
Yeah,
And Andrew Garfield, I'm just gonna say it, man. And this is a lot of people posting. If you didn't like him, Andrew Garfield back in the day, you can't like him now. Hey, I wasn't the biggest fan of his Spider-Man movies.
I hated the Spider-Man. I especially hated the second one.
And then now, I can give it a chance in the sense that I understand it's a different type of film, and his performance himself, he's an expressive actor, and that's something that we can appreciate.
Well, let me just say this real quick. We're gonna stick to No Way Home. Yeah. But I did watch Amazing Spider-Man 2 because I forgot the entire movie. Electro wasn't. He was the bad guy, but there were a lot of bad guys in that movie. Green Goblin was in it, which he was terrible. And I watched it because I wanted to remember Electro, but his performance in that movie, I think, is just he was directed very badly. Yeah. And that's not his fault, so I'll say that. And as for not liking him, I hated it. I hated the first Spider-Man a lot. Amazing Spider-Man, I'm sorry. Yeah. Second one, I hated even more. But seeing him here, I was like, you know what?
I could do a whole directed, written by Marvel.
Yeah, give Marvel the reins to do another Spider-Man movie with Andrew Garfield. I'm there for
Venom. I'm watching that.
I don't. Why does Venom have to be in it?
I want Venom on screen with Spider-Man.
Well, it doesn't have to be his Spider-Man.
he deserves a Venom.
Okay. All right,
he cool. Never got his third movie.
That's true. I want to see him fight Kraven.
We're going to get that in a video game. We'll see how that goes.
Okay. Yeah, so anyway, Andrew Garfield again, that was great. I had to get that up. Willem Dafoe, as you know, Willem Dafoe.
I'm going to say it straight up before I get to even mine. His performance is up here for me.
Yeah, he's, bruh, 60 or 20 years after his original performance. That man made this movie.
Yeah.
Like, so there's a scene where, the Goblin, the villains, the Goblin, Electro, and Doc Ock, they're all trying to get cured. Supposedly trying to get cured. And Sandman was there too. And the Lizard. Although the Lizard and Sandman, you can really forget about them. But, and then, Doc Ock helps, Goblin helps fix Doc Ock. Mm-hmm. And as they're fixing Goblin, you can see when Willem Dafoe changes, and it's so subtle, but it's there. Yeah. That is such great acting. Like when Doc Ock said, "Hey, you're about to be yourself again," and then you saw, which by the way, and his outfit in this movie, I'm all over the place. But his outfit in this movie, so comics accurate, so perfect. Yeah. But they zoomed in on him, the hood, and then they had the purple hood.
Yeah,
and then he turned around and was like, "Yeah." Okay, I was like, oh, nope, that's the Goblin. That's the Goblin.
Right. Just like,
So then, Peter Parker, his spider sense just goes crazy.
Yeah, he doesn't understand what's going on. He's just like...
I wish he had just waited. Because you notice, his spider sense was going off as he was healing Electro, right? Yep. If he had just waited a little bit, he could have healed Electro, then dealt with Goblin. Mm-hmm. I wish he had done that. But as the spider sense is going off, he, leaves Electro, he leaves Electro, and then he's like, something's wrong here. And then he, webs up the Goblin, and the Goblin comes out and just, messes everything up, makes Electro take off his thing, and, all the villains just go crazy. So, but that scene will forever live in my mind. And when I actually buy this movie, which I will be watching that over and over again. Yeah. It was such a great moment. Goblin is just these aren't curses, these are gifts. It's and you're the problem. You have the strength to have everything, but you are too weak to take it. I was like, this dude is just dropping bars right now, man.
It's this performance every time he spoke.
Yeah. And just, by the way, the action in this movie, Shang-Chi was an exception, but in Marvel movies, I'm not really thinking about, action all that much. Yeah. The action in this movie was spectacular. From the moment Doc Ock appeared on that bridge, which you see in the trailers. Yeah. I was dumbfounded. Yeah. The way Spider-Man fights and all of that, it's CGI.
I didn't know that. That's
and crazy. It's
we've come that far.
Yeah, man. I remember Tom Holland was talking about it when he was talking about the difference between this and Uncharted. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing to see Spider-Man move the way he moves against all these different villains. It was really good. Doc Ock's arms, were great. Goblin glider and the bombs were really great. Yeah. Seeing Electro, I love the way they changed his electricity to more comics accurate. And
every time he shot, you saw...
Yeah, the joints came out. Yeah. Exactly. Just like they do in the comic books. Yeah. I've been talking a while. Why don't you go for a little bit?
I'm agreeing with everything you're saying, so it's I'm not going to repeat anything. For me... We're just talking about what we like the performances were just extraordinary with this movie. Everybody pulled their weight on this. Besides our secondary characters like Sandman and Lizard, it's you're a nice little comic relief. When he started talking, Lizard started talking. I was like, yeah, cool. This is funny. You're really not important to the story right now. Thank you, Sandman, just having this heart because that's his character. Yeah. And it's just cool. And just thinking about the fact that kids that really haven't seen these films, they're looking at these characters who are these? Or if they've watched the cartoon or something like that. But for us, and this is what I said when I came home the next day, and I was like, yo, this movie was made for us. I'm talking to Aisha.
Yeah, it was a love letter to the fans of the film franchise.
Straight up. I was like, this was made for us, but it stands alone that my little one, 8-year-old, can go watch this and still enjoy it, and it's like, this is cool. Especially after Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
like
that
right there. It's like, you know there's more than one Spider-Man.
Yeah.
If we didn't have kind of that Into the Spider-Verse thing, I don't think kids would even kind of connect. They don't care. When we saw Tobey Maguire, when Andrew Garfield first gets there and cleans out some cobwebs, that's hilarious. Then you see Tobey Maguire and then you're like, it's a little like, this is nostalgia. Kids are probably like, cool, Spider-Man.
That old man? They probably know who he was.
Yeah, and then he opens his jacket. It's like, oh, that's a Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and, like, that's cool. Like, I feel like they did such a good job with incorporating those characters. And if it wasn't for Sony ruining it with that preview of them getting punched,
yeah.
Honestly, because we knew. Well,
I mean, you knew before that. Everyone kept talking.
We knew, but that doesn't still like. They won't do it. Toby and Andrew both were like, I'm not in the movie. Stop asking me.
Real quick, shout out to them for the patience they kept.
Yeah.
Throughout this whole thing, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. No. People kept hounding them. And Andrew Garfield actually said, I swear I'm not in this movie. Yeah. And then, they I don't even think they were allowed to be on, like, the red carpet or anything. They definitely didn't go on the, the nationwide tour with the rest of the cast or whatever.
Crazy.
So it's just like, it was...
So it's like, you can't go on the red carpet and you're like, this is... half of the movie is your movie. Because
people are insane. Yeah. But I want to go back to something you said. Because there's one tiny complaint I have in this movie. Okay. And it's the only reason, I think that Spider-Verse is still my favorite film, period. But this would come in maybe second or third place. It's just, for me, this movie could have only existed if the 5 other movies existed before it. Yeah. Yeah. Or I'm sorry, I guess it's 7, including Tom Holland's movies. But, because, it's so good because we know who all those Spider-Men are, and they came in this movie.
And then we know all the villains, too.
Yeah, if those movies didn't exist, this would have been, just a live-action Spider-Verse. Still very good, but I don't think it would have hit as hard. Yeah. I don't know if that's a criticism, but that's just something I want to say.
I agree. I think that, again, it was made for us. It was really made for us, and... I'm trying to be a little more chronologically with just how things went. Even just the interaction with him and Doctor Strange. And just you got Wong, where you're like, Wong, why are you going? I see in that portal what's going on. Why are you going over there? Are you guys giving us a little sneak peek on what's going to happen next?
The next Doctor Strange?
Yeah, and it's just like, what?
What did you think of Doc Strange not being Sorcerer Supreme anymore?
It made sense, but Mark called it. We were sitting outside waiting for y'all before the film. Big shout outs to Mark and Khalid for coming out with us. That was actually big shout outs to Mark for paying for Spider-Man. Just getting us all together. That was really great. But when we were sitting outside, he was like, "Yeah, Wong Sorcerer Supreme." I was like, "Yeah, he's not Sorcerer Supreme. That doesn't make sense." And then we said it. He was like, "Yeah, you were gone." I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, I always had a problem with how he became Sorcerer Supreme so fast. I don't know if it was destiny or whatever. I just didn't like it. Yeah. He literally jumped the line using his privilege, his white privilege, got him ahead of the line.
I say that about Doctor Strange all the time.
Oh really?
It's this white guy with broken hands.
Which, you know what drives me crazy about Doctor Strange? All jokes aside, the dude went to do this so he could practice medicine. He has all this magic, and he can't fix his hands to practice medicine? That makes no sense to me, bruh. He can literally make everybody in the world forget about you. He could travel in time.
It's like Professor X not being able to walk. There's no way that you're telling me that it takes that much mental capability to stand up.
Bruh.
You can't use your powers. That's a whole nother. That's just Marvel logic.
Yeah, it drives me insane.
Book logic.
I loved Doctor Strange is really good in this movie too. The
fact that he was gone for a quarter of the movie.
Yeah, that was something. Because he could have solved a lot of stuff. I like that.
Yeah.
Though, again, I said this when the trailer came out. I love how Spider-Man did what all heroes should do. Ask your friends. Because I'm still asking myself, hey, like, the world is ending in New York. I know there are at least 10 heroes there. Where are they? Daredevil was at the beginning of the movie, but
whole sky opening up, and you're telling me that Marvel Comics, which is based in New York City, like you said, there's at least 10 chilling. Then you got probably 10 that people don't even know are heroes.
Exactly.
And you don't see any of them running towards the Statue of Liberty.
None of them coming out.
So that was a little weird. Does that have something to do with the fact that they opened the multiverse?
But it happens in every Marvel movie though. So it's just something they do. But I did just say something that I do remember I have to criticize Disney about. They canceled Daredevil on Netflix, which pissed me off.
Well, that was a contractual.
Okay, they did it for their crappy streaming service.
Yeah.
Which back then I said, bruh, you are doing this so that I have to pay for your streaming service, which is going to make me upset. And then not only did they do that to bring all those characters to streaming service.
Yeah.
Now on the streaming service, you have to watch those shows to fully understand this movie. Because the second after credit scene is the trailer for Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And I know you and Mark were like, "Oh, well, you got to watch What If to understand what was going on."
Yeah.
I was like, "What?" What?
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
Small tangent I just had to take.
I know.
F you, Disney Plus. You screwed me.
And then shout out to Disney Plus for giving me all of this wonderful Marvel content. We're going to talk about Hawkeye, and we're going to talk about Hawkeye.
Oh, yeah. That's another, yeah.
We're going to talk. But
yeah, I haven't watched it, but I know who's in it. And, again, something else that pisses me off, because I could have already had this if you had just let it stay where it would have been.
Exactly. So we got our beloved Daredevil characters and our beloved Daredevil actors together.
Those actors were perfect. They better not have to recast them. So it's kind of like...
I don't think you can at this point.
It's kind of like, I'm happy to see them again, but I'm mad in the circumstances I'm seeing them again.
Yeah. And they were very, talk about what we've been asking for, comic correct stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to exist in this universe, though, because they were a lot darker.
Yes. And that's... We're getting all... I'm getting away from Spider-Man. Well, they are Spider-Man universe. But you gotta watch Hawkeye.
I'll give it a try.
You're gonna... I'm telling you, that's gonna change your view on how these shows can be intertwined.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we're gonna leave it at that. All right. Well, all right. So, yes. Freaking Daredevil catching a brick.
Yeah. When I threw the brick and he just caught it. Yeah, that was cool.
And then he's like, "How did you do that?" And it's like, "What do you mean? How did I do this? Daredevil.
I'm the devil of Hell's Kitchen, bro."
It's like, yeah. It's just like.
What did you? So I also liked how this movie was very self-aware of the other movies. Mm-hmm. Like you remember? I don't know if you remember this, but in the first Spider-Man movie came out and he had his web shooter, or he didn't have web shooters. It came out of his skin. Everybody in the world was like, "That is wrong. Yeah. Why is it coming out of his skin? This doesn't make any sense." And it wasn't addressed back then. Or Andrew Garfield, his movies, like we said, they weren't really received that well.
Yeah.
I love how when the three Spider-Men are talking, they're just addressing all this stuff.
They're talking about everything that everybody hated.
They're like, you can shoot web out of your skin? Yeah. Does that really... I was like, how does that work?
That's so
or gross. When they're talking to Andrew Garfield, and Andrew Garfield's like, yeah, you know what? I'm lame compared to you two. It was so self-aware. Yeah. I was like, you know what? Yeah, you get it. That nobody really liked you. But then, he's like, you're amazing. Because he was the amazing Spider-Man. I was like, I love this. That's another scene I have to rewatch a bunch of times. Yeah. I love it.
Their interaction was A1.
Yeah, that needed to be in the movie. Yeah. Like, while they're just sitting there waiting for the villains. That's what I imagine superheroes do. Like, when they're just sitting around.
It does. I never thought about that. It's like you're not. It's like you're still just like you're a person.
Yeah, you're still a regular dude.
Yeah,
you know.
Just I totally lost my train of thought when it comes to... I'm just trying to remember everything that happened in this. I'll tell you, though, which I'm the only one on the planet that didn't like this. I was not feeling the Aunt May death.
I was just about to talk about that. I felt it was necessary. I love how this movie went there. It was really dark.
I'm totally for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's how it happened and how I would have did it a little different. And then it was just like...
Okay, well,
throwing the line out there, you know...
Oh, the power...
Great power comes great responsibility. It's like...
So, if you haven't seen it, Aunt May is... I mean, after the goblin explodes... We talked about it earlier. Peter senses the goblin is there now.
Yeah.
He exposes himself, and then him and the villains are like, you know what, screw this. We don't want to be fixed or whatever. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have said this. Peter Parker is trying to fix these villains because he finds out they all die.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if I take away your afflictions, your powers, when you go back, maybe you won't have to fight Spider-Man and die.
Yeah.
So that's why he's doing all this. But the Goblin is like, you know what? Screw that. I want to keep my powers. You all should keep your powers too. He's like the de facto leader somewhat. Yeah. And, chaos ensues.
I mean, he because he kind of has his wits about him. We think, everyone thinks. He has his wits about him, and he himself, Norman Osborn, is a great scientist.
He's a genius.
Yeah. And so that is... Naturally, you're elite,
Right. So after he does
weird, like how you just believe somebody? He's just this.
Well, I mean, they were all secretly thinking it too. Yeah. Sandman didn't really make that much sense to me, honestly.
It's like,
because why would he he seemed like he was the good one, so it didn't really make sense. Like his motivation, I'm gonna see his daughter. Yeah, I'm gonna come back.
It's always been to come to see his daughter.
Right. I'll come back to Aunt May in a second, but. Sandman's motivation and Elektra being there are two things that didn't really make sense to me. Because why did Sandman want to destroy the box? Like, when he came with the fighting with the villains at the end, he should want him to press the button so he could go home and see his daughter.
Right.
So that didn't make sense to me. And also, Electro doesn't know who Spider-Man is, so why was he there?
You were saying that. Yeah, you were like...
Him and Venom, spoiler, I mean, if you saw Venom 2, he's there. Yeah. But they didn't know who Spider-Man was, so that didn't really make sense to me. But, two small things in a movie, I can overlook that. Because, people kept telling me, that I should hate this type of movie because the villain motivations didn't really make the most sense.
No.
And, I mean, the primary villain, the Goblin himself, wasn't, he was just evil to be evil, which I normally hate.
It was more confusion. Like, you got sucked into this universe, you're confused, and how somehow you're just upset.
Yeah, it didn't really make sense to me, but I don't know what to say. I still loved it. I mean, maybe it's just because this was executed so well, and other things aren't executed well.
Yeah.
But, I normally would hate a movie like this because the villains were, pretty bad in their motivation, but I didn't. But let's rewind a little bit.
So, I'll back to Aunt May. When I say... Yeah. It didn't hit me like it hit everybody else on the planet.
Wait, real quick.
It wasn't until his friends wrapped around Peter on top of the school and, they were crying. That's when I was like...
what are you talking about? He was crying when she died.
I'm telling you, it was it just didn't hit.
Well, hold on.
And one, she got up.
Hold on, wait. Let me explain what happened.
The whole first floor exploding.
So, after I was saying this earlier, after Peter exposed the Goblin, a fight ensues, and he beats the crap out of Spider-Man. Honestly, he beats him up, and then he's like, "You tried to cure me. I'm gonna try to cure what's wrong with you." And he says, "Aunt May is what's wrong with him." So he sends his glider to just smack her. Yeah. And that's right. It didn't impale her. It just hit her.
I would have enjoyed an impale.
Yo.
I think that's what it was. I wanted her to get impaled.
Yeah, so
that would have been more... I'd have been...
Yeah, to Jovi's point, she got smacked, and then she gets up.
And she gets up.
And she starts
That's
walking.
What I'm saying, guys and gals, because I don't want you to think I'm a horrible person and I have no feelings. It was how... she dies and how she gets hurt. I was just like, Like I'm like sitting there and like all this is going through my head. I was like, how the fuck are you standing? How are you standing?
Right.
You got hit with a military glider, like, the same glider that kills the Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
How?
Oh yeah, I remember when it killed the Goblin, he had the blades.
The blades came in and it went through him.
But with this one, he just smacked her, and I guess. Yeah, internal bleeding took its effects.
Oh yeah, but you're not fucking standing up. And then it was just like the holding, and then getting the line out. I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like,
So how would you have preferred her to get the line out and get killed in your perfect movie? When would she have said the line?
When it was as soon as it goes through her, like Peter runs up and grabs her. Same concept. It was the getting up. It's just like, yeah, okay. It's just like, no, you're not okay. You shouldn't be standing.
Okay.
And that was the weirdest thing, and I liked Aunt May through all three movies.
Yeah, I thought it was weird how hot she was when she was first introduced, but okay.
Yeah, and it's a different universe, different Spider-Man.
Does he have an Uncle Ben in this universe?
There's no talks of Uncle Ben.
Oh, okay, all right.
There's no talks. But yeah, that was it. I feel like I'm gonna get criticism for that. But then it was like that. All that happened. Happy pulls up.
Yeah, he pulled up for no reason.
I didn't like that either. They didn't shoot his car up.
Yo, Joe, what is wrong with you?
It's just like I'm trying to, like, everything else seemed believable, but that whole little scene, it's like these are like terrorist attacks going on, and you got the military, everybody's coming out, and you're telling me you're shooting at Spider-Man?
Yeah.
You're shooting at Spider-Man.
Which, the way the world turned against him again was kind of weird.
So it was all of that in that scene.
Yeah.
Not just Aunt May. So let me take that back, because now I feel like that's what I should say. That scene, just a lot of stuff was happening, and I was like, somebody got into the writer's room and did their thing, and they didn't. I didn't like it.
I just thought of something, and I have a question for you.
Yeah.
But I agree. I can see where your point is with Aunt May.
Yeah.
Do you think it makes sense that the entire world was upset that Spider-Man may have killed Mysterio, but when they found out who Peter Parker was, but when Iron Man came out after he had like murdered that other dude in the Iron Man suit, they didn't seem to really care.
They were excited. They were happy.
Yeah, he was like, I'm Iron Man, and nothing seemed to happen. I don't know. Maybe someone can tell me why that is. Maybe maybe I haven't seen Far From Home in a while, so maybe I'm missing something. But I don't really get it.
They still believed he was a time traveler too.
That Mysterio? Oh yeah. See, that's ridiculous. Like
it was like a lot. Those things were still like people.
Like, I mean, Spider-Man by this point, he's an Avenger. I think you can take his word on some things. And he exercised a lot more patience than I would have with them cops. Oh my gosh, what I'd have done to them. But yeah, man, like
after that, and then, but my thing was everything to say about that scene was weird. The happy thing, all that. Yeah. It was like them holding him, because like friendship is huge with this Tom Holland Spider-Man. Yeah. I think, the Amazing Spider-Man, that Harry wasn't believable.
Yeah, he was.
So we don't get that friendship, but that Gwen Stacy relationship is. I think that was believable.
But the acting in that movie was just over the top. You have to watch it again. It's over the top, yo. It was very badly directed. The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
It's darkish. Like, I was watching clips, and I'm like, I don't remember this movie being this gloomy. Like, it looks like original Daredevil movie dark.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, like I'm like, why is this so dark? So, but besides that,
looks like a DC movie.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a DC movie, which I love about DC movies. That's what I love about DC movies. You don't need that in a Marvel movie. Everything, man. Final scene.
Yeah, I was about to say, bro, his sacrifice at the end, when he's like, "Hey, make everyone so
goosebumps, man."
Make everyone forget I'm Peter. I don't really get how that works though. Because if everyone forgets he existed, does he still have a birth certificate?
since Aunt May's gone.
And like
his parent, like we don't,
like he couldn't even tell
parents. Like
he couldn't tell what's his name, Happy, that Aunt May was his aunt. Like no. I don't get it. Are you saying you're not related to these people? Like who are you? Because Spider-Man still exists in that world. Everyone knew who he was.
He has a GED book, so it's like you're a person.
Yeah, you're obviously, and he can pay rent.
You can pay rent. Right. You're still a person. You have some type of social security card.
And why did he have to make a new suit? Because he still had the suit Tony Stark gave him.
I was like, does that make people remember?
But people know that Spider-Man exists. So, all right, you know what? I don't know.
So it's like, Spider-Man exists.
This is why time travel is devil. Or what? I'm sorry.
He's the neighborhood Spider-Man now.
Very nice suit.
Like I said, goosebumps. That suit. I was more hyped for that suit than certain parts of the movie. I was like, that suit looks... What Joanne Fabrics did he go to? Because that suit, I was like, yo, I didn't know I needed to see that on film.
Yeah, man.
So,
I know. I really liked it. Again, that was a throwback to, like, all these throwbacks. Doc Ock, Goblin, the suit. All these throwbacks were great. The things we said we disliked... Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing I disliked. I did not like how easy it was for Ned to get his powers. They disrespected the crap out of Doctor Strange. I know I was just making fun of him.
They disrespected the crap out of the whole organization.
This man gets the sling ring and does it immediately. That was an entire act of Doctor Strange.
Are we saying that Ned
then the cape?
We were making jokes like Super Ned the entire movie, and I was just like, oh my gosh, they really made Super Ned.
Yeah.
It's like, but my fingers tingle sometimes, and it's just like, are you powerful, Ned, or did they just do that for the movie?
I think they're gonna bring him back in the future.
I still wanted him to be Hobgoblin.
Yeah,
that would have brought me joy.
I have to read up on Hobgoblin. I don't remember who he was in the comics, but
remember in Spider-Man, like the animated series, he had nothing to do with Osborn.
Yeah, at all. He hated Osborn, actually.
Yeah. So I'm like, maybe they could do something like that, but then...
But Ned has no reason to be evil.
He has no reason to be. But there's another Ned out there somewhere.
I don't know why. Why did that rumor even start?
Because we haven't seen Hobgoblin.
And they just want this... It doesn't have to be that dude. Yeah. I don't get why they picked Ned.
Because it's his best friend.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Yeah, I mean...
But yeah, him and Zendaya also, we didn't mention them, but they were also really good.
Oh man, yeah. I'm a big fan of Zendaya, even though her performances in her own stuff are great, but then her side performances in these movies where they base everything around her, you're just like, hey, that was a great 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But Ned and I don't know Ned's.
I'm sorry, I don't know his real name.
His real name. So Ned and Zendaya, they were in this movie.
No, they were really good.
They were.
Like you said, Zendaya, I think she's very talented.
Yeah. And
can we talk about the after credit scene though, and my problem with it? So
which one?
The Venom one.
Venom one. Okay.
So Venom, as shown in the Carnage movie that we didn't like, he's sitting in
That's
this...
an understatement. It's a fucking bad, horrible movie.
He's sitting in this beach bar, and everyone's talking to him, and he's like, oh, okay, so this world is full of super people.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here. Maybe I should go talk to the Spider-Man. Then, Doctor Strange's spell goes through, and
he disappears.
And he goes back to his universe. Okay, but he leaves behind a bit of Venom.
A little bit. Little bit of Venom.
I don't know how that got there, because in Carnage we show that only happens when he bleeds. But that's not even my issue right now. My issue is...
Was he...
Let's talk about Morbius. Because in the Morbius trailer, we know that takes place in the Venom universe.
It takes place in the Venom universe. It takes place in all of the Spider-Man universes.
Okay.
And the Venom universe.
It doesn't make sense to me. Because...
We know it doesn't make sense, and I think that's why they put that shit in the trailer. There's no reason that they would have put that newspaper in the trailer. There's no reason they would have put that cover in the poster of Spider-Man.
Yeah, they have a poster of Spider-Man and Vulture.
And then Vulture. So these are the three movies. There's no reason they would have done that. So,
my thing is...
Morbius was supposed to come out before Venom.
Okay, but they scrapped that, so they've redone.
They've redone the story, so that means this is somehow going to tie these universes.
But okay, so my issue is, I don't want a Morbius movie dealing with the multiverse before I know who Morbius is. Like, I feel like he needs an origin story before you can toss him into this multiverse of madness. He is in Venom's world, where we know Venom doesn't know any superheroes because they don't exist.
They don't. It's just
how can if it's just him, that means Morbius is the second one.
Yeah.
So then how is there Spider-Man and Vulture there too? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It's just, I'm talking to all my friends about this, and like,
even at the end of Venom, when he's just like that guy, and then so he's trying to explain that he can go through universes or somehow space and all this and like the space time. They're trying to make Venom way more.
Oh, so you're saying maybe it's another Venom in Morbius, not the one we know.
Yeah. Or he's traveled to these universes before he even met Eddie.
Okay.
That's what they were trying to get at, and they did a very horrible job.
Okay.
That's what
I'm still not gonna like that, but I'm
that's what they're saying. But Venom is technically the last hero left when everything gets destroyed. We probably won't see that shit till 2040 if they keep making Marvel movies.
What event are you talking about?
So there's this huge I don't even remember what it's called, but in the Marvel universe, one of the universes, everything gets destroyed and Eddie Brock is like the last one left. And it's like way into the future. And I'm like, are they going to try to bring that in? Because the second movie was horrible, but it still made money. So they're making another one.
Oh, we know. Yeah, we know they are.
Yeah, so it's like they could technically do that because now the multiverse is a thing. That's it. I think this whole ending of this review is that the multiverse is a thing now. It's on the big screen.
Oh, this video is way too long to be a review. Yeah. I'm gonna call this a talk. I don't know. Here it is. We gotta wrap it up soon, though.
Yeah, but I think that's what I'm gonna end it in. This movie was amazing, and the multiverse is here.
Yeah.
And
world of possibilities. They can do anything now. They can bring back.
I think that's what it is.
They can bring back Captain America. They can bring back Tony Stark. They can bring in Galactus. They can do anything they want to do.
I mean, I've been waiting for fucking Galactus for the last 10 years.
Fantastic Four, their movie's coming out from the guy who directed this, so something to look forward to. Yeah. If you stuck around this long, thank you. We talked a lot. Spider-Man, what was your favorite part of it? This is a spoiler talk. Let us know what you thought of it. Hopefully you loved it like we did. And yeah, until next time, guys. We out.
Deuces.